Lauren down here from the Herald Sun again. Just another quick one about Angela's question on equality just before. We've got quite a large pay dispute happening with our Australian women's soccer team at the moment. Is it frustrating for you as someone who's so prominent in your sport? And we heard you say on the Ellen show the other day you are the richest fighter in UFC, that sort of thing is still going on?
I think that how much you get paid should have something to do with how much money you bring in. I'm the highest paid fighter not because Dana and Lorenzo wanted to do something nice for the ladies. They do it because I bring in the highest numbers. They do it because I make them the most money.
What's good, YouTube? This is KB the Flag. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another video, man. We got feminists getting owned. But before we get into that, man, do me a huge favor. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe.
Lesson from Ronda Rousey and the logic of free market economics. Take a look.
Rhonda, Lauren down here from the Herald Sun again. Just another quick one about Angela's question on equality just before. We've got quite a large pay dispute happening with our Australian women's soccer team at the moment. Is it frustrating for you as someone who's so prominent in your sport? And we heard you say on the Ellen show the other day you are the richest fighter in UFC, that sort of thing is still going on?
I think that how much you get paid should have something to do with how much money you bring in. I'm the highest paid fighter not because Dana and Lorenzo wanted to do something nice for the ladies. They do it because I bring in the highest numbers. They do it because I make them the most money. And I think that the money that they make should be proportionate to the money that they bring in.
Here's a belligerent woke college student who's about to get what is obviously her very first lesson in logical reasoning.
I just have a question for all of you. I guess what scholastic credibility do any of you have just coming from a place of having, been in college for a really long time and taken a bunch of environmental studies courses and knowing that, climate change is real and a big part of climate change is, the United States is, gluttonous, consumer-driven, abusive, exploitative lives. I've heard these things from.
And this is what you're being taught. This is called brainwashing, by the way. But anyway, you're being brainwashed.
Somebody disprove global warming. I just want to know who's disproved global warming. Because not the 98% of climate scientists I've heard talk about.
Okay, hang on. Let me answer. Let me answer that one. Okay, you're in college, so I'd say logic will work beautifully with you. If we say 98%, no, please, sweet, because actually, this point I really love doing. So
no, I can't take anything you said seriously because you said that washing machines were more liberating than the birth control pill. You don't know anything. You are the least credible human being I've ever encountered. I know that this is absurd. I just can't help it. I'm sorry, but you're a goddamn idiot.
A goddamn idiot.
You are, and you're lying through your teeth.
This is what you always say.
And how does it feel?
What am I lying about?
Feels good to tell the truth.
What am I lying about?
I've been to Africa.
What am I lying
You've
about?
been to Africa?
I haven't been to Africa, but that doesn't mean that I don't know
but you
that.
how do you
No,
know?
the infant
No, she's allowed
mortality
to have an
rate
opinion
in
about
neighborhoods
Africa.
in Philadelphia are just as bad as place in Africa, all right?
Say again?
The infant mortality rate in black and brown communities, like in North Philadelphia, is just as high as in many places.
Okay, that is factually inaccurate. But can I just do one point because I think it's worthwhile. Even though I've just been personally insulted, which I think is an extraordinary thing for intelligent.
Just off of my opinion alone, she's saying that there's a higher mortality rate somewhere in the United States than there is in Africa, I believe. And the reason I say I don't believe that, is because Africa is, it depends on which parts of Africa she's talking about. So, you know what I'm saying? Because, of course, you got your good parts of Africa, you got the bad parts of Africa. If she's talking about the bad parts of Africa, I highly doubt that somewhere in the United States, anywhere, any state in the United States will have a high mortality rate there than they do in Africa. Because Africa really, if we're talking about the bad places in Africa, because that's what I'm assuming she's talking about, they don't have access to resources like we do. they don't have access to certain emergency supplies or the shit that we have access to. We look at our hospital compared to their hospital. Look at our hospital compared to these third world country hospitals. They ain't the same. They ain't the same. There's a reason why we're the first world country. So that's why I say I personally don't agree with a man. That one kind of shook me. Hey, maybe I'm tripping. If y'all want to leave a comment down below, go ahead and do that, man, and tell me something I don't know.
People do if she was talking about academic background. That's not what an open-minded person does. But let's just look at what she said, because I think it's really worthwhile. So she said that 98% of scientists agree that global warming is a major problem, basically. That's what she said. 98% of scientists. Everyone in this room is going to college, so you're going to like the logic of this. If you say 98% of something, there must be 100%. So somewhere there must be a list. There must be a list of all the scientists that exist. My first challenge to this lady is to give me the list of every scientist that exists in the world. Because if they do, that's how you can use the word 98%. If there isn't a definitive list, there is no such thing as 98%. Number one, logic. Number two, science does not proceed by consensus. Science is not democratic. At one time in history, it was the consensus that the Earth was flat. Everyone believed in that. Everyone agreed on that. One man said that that was not true. One person is true. The idea, anyone who says to you, the majority agree with it, so it's true, is not a scientist. I don't know what they are, but they're not a scientist. The laws of gravity do not get agreed by a consensus, by a vote, by a democracy. Science is not democratic. Science is about truth. One person can be correct. The person who quotes 98% of science is somebody who already knows they're losing. So they are using illogic. 98% of all scientists, unless you have an index of all scientists. Richard Lindzen, Chair of Atmospheric Sciences at MIT, says we need to not worry about this. He was on the IPC. He resigned because of the fact that it was so unscientific. The list of scientists that I think is running to about 1,000 that I've seen a list of, who dissent with the other opinion. It grows all the time, but it doesn't really matter how big the list is. It doesn't matter. Because the truth is the truth, and it's not done by majority. We can't all vote in this room about the laws of physics and make it right. And I would like the lady who insulted me earlier to at least acknowledge my logic, at least acknowledge that logic, because she is obviously a highly educated person, although I question that. Anyone who needs to insult, anyone who needs to use ad hominem attacks against the speaker is someone who is obviously really shaky on their facts.
Anyone who would need to insult and use ad hominem attacks against the speaker is someone who's obviously really shaky on her facts. Gang, that's called game, set, match. Now that is what a professor really should sound like. And that's gonna wrap it up for us here. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But most importantly, always remember.
You see how most feminists, it seems as if the student was more than likely a feminist, letting the anger get in the way. Then you start, calling names out, blah blah. I don't know too much about. Now I know global warming is kind of sort of bad or whatever. I really don't look into global warming because there ain't much that I can do on my part besides recycle. I barely do that, but But she do raise a good point, man. You can't sit over here and just say, you need to have facts to back up what you're saying. And the girl didn't have any facts to back up anything that she was saying. That's how a lot of your feminists act today. That's how a lot of your modern women act today, because a lot of women don't know how to argue anymore. A lot of women don't know how to argue no more. Once you get them back into a hole, they're gonna start calling you out your name. They're gonna start making up some shit. They're gonna try to finesse you. And what I mean by finesse you, they're gonna try to move the conversation around and try to take advantage of the conversation. They're going to try to take hold of the conversation. You can't let that happen. You gotta stay on it, bro. You gotta stay on it. Because a lot of these modern women don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They just hear some shit, they see some shit, and they go run to the internet or go run to people and say, hey, this is what I believe and blah, blah, But Do me a favor, man. Leave me a like, comment, and subscribe.